I would like to ask about options we can take to reduce our level of anxiety in a current situation that's happening. I'll call it in real time, in order to promote more congruence and less conflict. Is that too general?
No, it is not too general.
Thank you.
The perception of conflict arises from the lens of one's perspective. And so then one needs to examine why one is feeling that there is a conflict. And often the conflict is the interaction is conflicting with something that is inherent within yourself. And then comes the further examination to identify what is this interaction coming into conflict with within me. And it is from this inner examination that one can identify if the appearance of conflict is then really an opportunity for you to have discovered potentially a place that can become more unconditional, a place that maybe is still slightly more conditional than you would like it to be. And so if there is a specific, more specific line in that question, that would be my recommendation, is to feel the emotion that the conflict is creating. Your emotions are very important because they are your guides. They are your guides to the understanding of what beliefs are lying latent within you. And so if you are perceiving that you are engaged in an interaction that has conflict, then the first thing to do is to identify what in your perspective is perceiving the conflict, because if it is true that everyone stands in their own unique position at their own place in their evolution, then it must be acceptable then for you to also be standing in a different place, and understanding that everyone is choosing their path and choosing the speed of their evolution at their own rate, then it is also acceptable for you to do the same. Eckhart Tolle has an interesting expression that he calls it becoming the witness. You are familiar with this?
Yes.
When you are observing something that is displeasing to you, or that you sense is causing conflict, that you have the mental capacity, you have the mental ability to become the witness and understand that what you are observing is an indicator of what the other person's reality is based on their beliefs and their structures, which is acceptable because it is acceptable for you. Yes?
Yes.
But it is a conditioning, it's a reconditioning of the cognitive structure to think this way first. And that is actually how, in the beginning years ago, when she came upon the Tolle information, the concept of becoming the witness was a practice then that required the repetition of that thought in order for Michelle to be able to observe something that she was not in agreement with, to first have the cognitive understanding of what is really happening. Who are you really observing? And what is the foundation of your emotional response, observation then?
Yes. And often when I find myself feeling resistance from someone else in their emotional state that causes signs what look like distress outwardly, it causes in me a response that wants to help them recognize the resistance, though I know it's not my place to change them. I feel as though sometimes I can exhibit a possibility from within myself that may allow a realization in the event that there can be a shift. Is that an accurate way to approach it?
A shift in your own perspective.
Can't do it wrong, right?
No.
Yes, a shift in the perspective of the person with whom I'm speaking, who is feeling the resistance that's causing an emotional response, an aggressive response, a response that is not an energy of unity, but rather of division. Maybe I'm too general.
The appearance of the division is a reflection. If you're observing that, it is a reflection of the separation that is still existing in the person's
My
brain.
perception.
Correct. So the only thing that you're observing is a reflection of their current beliefs, the ones that serve them and the ones that are limiting. And that is all that is happening. Now, what's interesting is that, and I am not suggesting that this is easy to do in that moment, but if you would like to alter an interaction, you have it within you to project the energy of love, of patience, of understanding, and compassion to the other person whom you believe is demonstrating an interaction of separateness, as you call it, of division. Because the opposing reaction, one that is unconditional in response, is the energy that you have. Indeed, everybody has that opportunity to flow out, project from themselves the energy of that unconditionalism to the person who is experiencing the separation from self. And there they will telepathically receive the energy and the thoughts that are in harmony with that level of unconditionalism. They will receive it from you. Interestingly enough, it is a tool that is available to each one of you to calm a situation through your projecting this emotion, this energy, this response of love and harmony and unity out to others. And they will telepathically be able to receive what it is that you are projecting. Likewise, however, if you are viewing the encounter from a position of that it appears unpleasant because there is a conflict and there are opinions about the person who may be causing this experience, they will telepathically pick that up too. And
yes, and I should have more faith in my ability to project my own energy into the situation for the purpose of creating a more peaceful conversation.
Think of it as an opportunity to play with your energy. When you come upon a situation that may be difficult, think of it as having fun with your energy more than in an attempt to manipulate someone else. You see, to have that understanding that you are witnessing an unpleasant experience and that you are going to utilize the energy that you already harness, and you're going to project it out in a deliberately focused fashion of unconditionalism to that person. There are two effects when you do that. Unconditionalism grows within you because you are putting into practice the conscious thought that allows you to project that thought from yourself to another. It lessens your proclivity then to form judgments within a situation like that first, which can be challenging to do because the inherent belief of right and wrong is so entrenched, it's almost a knee-jerk reaction. Yes?
Yes, it was almost as though, rather than right and wrong, that I was experiencing a demonstration of pain in this person, and that was my it became my desire to try to be available to that in this situation.
Be
That
available to
to like you said, to raising a sense of relief of the pressure that the person was exhibiting was on them.
And did you practice sending unconditional love through the form of acceptance and compassion and patience?
In some situations I did, and in other situations I definitely felt my own misgivings bubble up about my lack of desire to be in a conflicted situation. So a bit of me wanted to extract myself, and a bit of me, a larger part of me, wanted to try to move the energy to a more conducive, more open, more compassionate environment for the person. So there were many emotions happening for me.
Understood. And so, but in the moment, and there are going to be moments when each of you encounter personalities that are standing at a different vibrational set point. Yes?
Yes.
And in those moments is when you can practice. And the question then becomes, if more people took the opportunity to project the strength and the power of their unconditional love source at the onset of a potential conflict, and the other is able to telepathically receive the calming energy of that,
Yes.
then perhaps the conflict would not have become a conflict at all. Yes? And so then the idea, then you understand, of the collective consciousness doing this more and more is what alters the vibration of the energy within yourselves, but also on the planet. And so then it has to be a response from the majority, lovingly offered energetically, telepathically to others who may not be standing in the similar vibrational set point. It then becomes the offering of those who are more vibrationally stable to offer assistance then to those who are not as much so. Yes?
Yes. 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 Sometimes quiet stillness and reflection and being in that state in a situation of emotional output can be very calming, and in a way that is not necessarily outwardly comprehended in that sort of unity consciousness. Thank you.
The energy itself is calming, even
Yes.
to oneself, when you practice the focused and deliberate thoughts that generate that energy. For the energy of unconditionalism, the energy of unconditional love, of harmony, of peace, of compassion, of patience, is that energy is what is calming to a situation that does not feel calmed. Yes?
Yes.
And but at the same time, it is understandable that everyone is still on their journey, on their path to evolving to a place of vibrational stability, where that is the response, as opposed to the old response of sensing that something is wrong. Yes?
Yeah.
Instead of understanding that others, the first response being, others are not going to be standing in a place of vibrational stability at all times. Indeed, none of you are. Yes? Which is the cause for the ebb and flow of the energy. Yes?
Yes, diversity.
To move up and down. So it is very natural that there's going to be a perception of the ebb and flow of not only your energy, but others as well. The important aspect here is to remember your power to project your energy, your unconditional energy into any situation. And this is where you're really using your power, your present point of power, to create experiences in reality that you prefer over the ones that you don't prefer. Yes?
Yes.
Which is not to say that it's going to alter someone else's existence, nor will it impede upon their free will to creatively express their beliefs and the validity of their experiences. Yes?
Yes.
But
yes.
What it does do is, in a challenging situation, it proffers the opportunity of another energy to become present. So everything is energy. Everything is energy. And so oftentimes people become a little confused by the behaviors of others, as they have been conditioned to do over a lifetime. So it is understandable that what I am suggesting right now is a practice that requires repetition. And here is the positive way of looking at a challenging situation. When you encounter a challenging situation that doesn't feel as good as you would like it to, your first thought can be, oh, good, here is an opportunity. Oh, good. Yes?
Yes.
You see the contradiction. You are viewing something that is unpalatable. You are starting to emotionally feel things that are not pleasant, but you are conditioning your mind, which to respond to what you're observing, to say, oh, good, here's an opportunity for me to wield the real power, the power of compassion, the power of patience. Here's my opportunity to practice in an uncomfortable situation, my ability to project that power into the situation so that I can enjoy this paradigm much more easily than I am right now, to allow me to experience it more pleasantly than the direction that it's going. You see?
Yes, an opportunity to play with my own emotions.
Yes, to practice the altered perspective, that when you see conflict, to respond, oh, good. Here is an opportunity. Yes?
True state of allowing.
A true state of allowing, indeed. But it requires repetition, because it is not the first response that you or anyone else has been conditioned to have.
Yes, it's not the conditioned response.
It is not the conditioned response. There must be another response that becomes as conditioned. And that begins in your cognitive process. That begins in your neuronal process. That begins with a purposeful, deliberate thought on how you are going to choose to express your energy into any situation, even one that seems rife with conflict. You have the ability to do that at every single point of your existence in this physical construct. You see, not just when you are observing the appearance of conflict, but you have that ability to do that at every moment, everything you're observing. Yes?
Yes.
Even when the observation is pointed at yourself, this is something that you can also give to yourself, because more often than not, these limiting beliefs, the idea of wrongness, is often first aimed at yourself. And I say yourself in the general term, meaning humanity.
Yes.
You are your hardest critics. You're hardest on yourselves more than others, oftentimes. And being very critical of others in challenging situations is often a reflection of the difficulties that are still a reflection of inner work that still needs to be done on one's own beliefs, on one's own perception. And so a good place to have an opportunity to interact with conflict is to change the conditional response and say, oh, good. And you laugh.
I like that. It's a solution that is going to allow me to practice a new paradigm for myself and fight that old conditioned response, which feels so uncomfortable, to something that can feel great and transform a room.
Imagine what would happen if that was the majority response, if that was the response of projecting unconditional love into challenging experiences. Imagine if that was the conditioned response of the majority of the people on the planet.
Cooperation.
And vibrationally, how that translates.
That would be the goal.
It would be a different planet.
That's the goal.
That is the goal. That is the goal. But it begins here. And so you understand then these are opportunities that are for you.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.